Welcome to Between Two Pastries. This is Nicole.
Hey everyone, it's Annie.
Happy New Year, everybody. Seriously, 2025. Hello, hello. Are we
Yeah,
are we
thanks.
ready? I don't even
I'm
know.
gonna say no, but
I
that's
know.
okay.
It's bizarre. It's really bizarre. So for our New Year's pod, we are going to have a couple of pods that follow this, all with the relatively same topic. So we have two wonderful guests today who said yes to talking about things that they used to do or how they consider New Year stuff now, like versus what they used to, let's say, think about. Annie and I really wanted to talk about the effects of New Year stuff on people, maybe digging in a little bit more of even some of the whys of why we choose to do different things and just kind of go from there. So welcome you two. Welcome Amber and welcome Kathleen. If you guys want to just introduce yourselves just a little bit, feel free to do so.
Yeah, go ahead, Amber.
Sure. So I'm Amber. I have been working with Nicole since 2019.
Nice.
Um, and it's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
Uh, I think I'm in a much better spot now than I was when she and I first started talking.
Like 1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah. Yeah. And kudos to you, girl. Kudos to you. So it hasn't been easy, that's for sure.
And I started seeing Nicole because I started running and dieting and um, wrecked my body. So
Yeah.
um, she was the one who helped me, um, I guess, get back to being healthy
Mhm.
and being able to support myself. So
Nice.
Nice. Nice. Well,
Yeah,
welcome,
we'll
Amber.
talk about that.
Yeah. And he's like, let's just
We'll
pile
get back
right
to
in.
that. We'll
Yeah.
let
Yeah.
Kathleen introduce herself before
Yeah.
I start firing
It's so
questions.
true. It's so true though, because it's like, yep, there's something right there, right? Yep.
So my name is Kathleen, and I started working. I don't know how long I've been working with Nicole, a couple years now at least.
Yeah.
Yep. So slightly different reasons. I was already running, but I was also perpetually trying to diet and live by the number on the scale and all the things. And then I went to Nicole, and she showed me that the scale can go sit in the closet and think about itself,
Yes.
and I can actually eat food like all the time, not be starving, and still do all the things I want to do. So it's been again, very educational, very
Mhm.
educational. And then the pod I listen to, of course, regularly. So I've got a lot of that too. But yeah, meeting with Nicole has definitely helped me change my mindset, have a much healthier approach to, if I want to have a cookie, have it with lunch. Don't just like randomly eat half a bag of Oreos because whatever.
Hmm.
So, which has been amazing. So I can still have all the things, but still feel really good and be healthier.
Hmm.
Well, that's awesome.
Yay.
Yeah. Thanks,
Good.
Kathleen, for being here. Yeah, so I mean, again, even in your intros, you both kind of talked about already kind of like what you did do, what you are doing now. Annie, before I kind of start digging in too, did you want to go ahead and take it into a different direction
Well,
right away?
yeah. No, I mean,
Well,
that's
yeah. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I know we're supposed to talk about the new year, but both of you mentioned how you're in a healthier spot now. And
Mm,
I want to isolate that word healthy and what that really means, because as we correlate that to the new year,
mhm.
everyone has an idea of what healthy means
Yep.
at the new year
Yep.
and in June and in the holiday season. And I want people to start to remember and know or learn or identify that, like, we have kind of an overarching view of what health is or what healthy means. And then because of day-to-day living, we take that definition and we skew it to what we want it to be
Hmm.
based on the circumstances that are at hand or the time of year or what's happening. And some of that is kind of a good thing to have some of that flexibility. But how can we around the new year embrace this concept of healthy not even existing at all.
Well, and I think that even like questions for you two, based on what you just said, Annie, it's like both of you used that term healthy. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I think healthy means two different things to you guys now.
Yeah,
It
probably.
does.
I mean, I won't answer for you. Yes, it does.
Right?
Of
Yeah.
course.
So I would be curious, how you two are, or how you have learned within yourself what
Mm.
healthy really means to you. Is that kind of what you're even
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah.
Annie? Yeah.
Mhm.
So I can chime in. For me, healthy now means not restricting,
Mhm.
not weighing the celery that I'm putting on my salad to
Oh,
see how many calories are in the 10 grams of
oh.
celery.
Mm.
It means not weighing myself, even though I really want to.
Mhm.
It means um, while I still struggle every damn day with
Mhm.
what I see in the mirror and what I see in my fridge and my freezer and what I want to do, it means that I am allowing myself to live and not um, restrict and just be okay with where I'm at. And honestly, like if I go on vacation or if I go out to dinner, I'm going to have the bread and I'm not going to freak out if there's salad dressing on my salad and realize that my body is honestly pretty much doing what it's doing regardless of what I'm putting in it, because I will tell you there are days that I've restricted and days that I haven't. Um, and it all seems to even out. And I'm also in a place where I'm no longer exercising to earn calories. I
Mhm.
am exercising because it makes me feel good. And
Mhm.
if I can't get it in on a day, I'm not beating myself up. So that is where my healthy
Mhm.
mindset is now. Again, it is still a struggle every single day because I want to restrict. I
Yeah.
want to measure. When I see myself getting a little like softer in the belly than I want to be today, um, and then I have to not. And I've had slips over the past 5 years,
Mhm.
and then I have to pull myself back out. So it hasn't been like a linear journey, but I am in a much better mind space now, um, even than I was probably 6 months ago,
Mhm.
you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that's me.
Yep, I would
That's my
absolutely
hope.
echo that. What Amber said to you with the restricting piece, that was the biggest part of it, right? Like I can only have 1,400 calories a day, which is completely insane, right? And so you, to her point, I can have an entire cucumber to fill me up and I'll be fine. But that doesn't really work well. I also have gotten over that, especially when you hit a certain age, you've really learned to start getting over. I've never had in my life have ever been a size 2, and I'm never going to be.
Yeah.
And I've learned to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So I don't automatically feel a lot of it is the stuff that you learn growing up, right? Like when people start helping you diet when
Ugh.
you're like 11,
Ooh.
because they don't, because everybody, because all the popular kids, which looking back on it now, were not in fact thin, but I guess that was the thing, right? And even people in my life today that spend, when they describe someone to you, they describe their body size.
Mhm.
Mm.
It used to be something that in my mind I would say, oh, it's, then you look at within, right? Or you look in the mirror and think, oh, wow, they were describing me. What would they say? And
Oh.
now I'm just like, I immediately say, that has nothing to do with their health, right? Like, I don't
Mhm.
care who it is. So I've really, the mindset there has helped a lot. That's definitely been a shift. But to me, the healthy piece of it is I'm not dwelling on that. I'm not on the scale every day. I've worked with trainers who like, oh, I weigh myself 3 times a week. And the first thing they'll ask you is like, have you seen the scale today? And I'm like, I haven't seen a scale in 6 months and I don't plan to. There are days when I'm like, okay, I gotta know. And then I pull myself back before I even do it and say, do I though? Do I really need to know that? So it's no longer about that number. It's more about, do I feel like I have more energy? Did I go to spin today and it felt good, or did I go and it felt
Mm,
like a slog? So if it
hmm.
was a slog, like, did I not get enough sleep last night? So it's more around other things. The healthy isn't so much about that number or any of those things. It's more around, am I sleeping? Have I had enough water? And like, how am I feeling? Not
Right.
so much what's in the mirror.
That's awesome. And go ahead, Annie. We're like,
No, to me, both of you are describing being at peace with food and being at peace with your body, which does not mean there are never slip ups. It doesn't mean there's never thoughts or feelings. It just means you're at peace in that way, which leads to, our version of healthy as we define it. And it really stinks that, majority of people, though, who are not at peace with their body and who are not at peace with food, as you mentioned, like a personal trainer, for example, and weighing yourself, etc. They define that those weight checks and eating only, vegetables and being a size 2, that's healthy. And how do we continue to emphasize to people that your mind will be eons and eons better if you give all of that up?
Yep.
And that's where around the new year, I mean, last year we talked about body image specifically, and this year really focusing on giving up these New Year's traditions, of weight loss or body change or food restrictions, because that's ultimately at the end of the day what so many people are engaging in the season. And it's challenging because the more you do that, ironically, the more, unhealthful you are. And the less you do that, and the more at peace you are, and the more kind of this mental break that you have, the better your health outcomes.
Hmm.
But so many people don't know that or realize it or
No.
believe it.
Well, and I was even thinking about the one thing that both of you kind of said in common is like this, I must control my body. And that piece of, trying to let go of that isn't the thing. It's just not the thing. And like Amber, you kind of kept saying it too, like my body's going to do what it's going to do, regardless if I'm like, eating a piece of celery or eating a piece of cheesecake. Like my body is going to do. I mean, you didn't use those terms, but I'm just saying,
That's what I meant.
I hope you eat cheesecake, by the way.
I have ice cream like every day
Oh, that's right.
because
Ice
it's
cream's
my thing.
your
I like
jam.
it.
Yeah. I love it. But and Kathleen, you too, and both of you, like you said, the fixation on that number. And again, what that does to us psychologically, like that number defines if I'm okay or not, if I'm doing enough or not, if, all of the things, or even like, you know, um, Kathleen, you and I have talked a lot about this too. Like, if I'm doing X, Y, and Z, then it should equal
Mm,
that, right? And I know that that's can still just, again, that is a mental game
yep.
challenge, but that's the whole piece, right? It's that
Mhm.
whole like, the pain and all of that stuff just comes from our head.
Mhm.
Yeah,
The
shoulda,
body's like,
getcha.
hey, we're just hanging out here doing what we need to be doing, and but it's our head that makes everything crazy, right?
Well, Nicole, I would even argue like your headspace, but also this weird desire for control,
Yeah.
that is obviously part of our headspace, but also like not people they're unable to identify where this need for control comes from.
Hmm.
And then it ends up being, body, food, et cetera, et cetera. And, when other people's, i.e. parents or adults, control issues around food and body start to affect us at, like you said, Kathleen, a young age, 11, 12 years
Oof.
old, the ramifications of that and the dieting that go on at that age and above, and then all of a sudden you're getting help at age 40. I mean, there's a lot of unraveling that has to happen. And again, just to bring it back to our overall theme, we put people on these like timelines, like it's a new week, it's a new month, it's a new year. And for some reason, that means we restart, we reset, we redo, we reinitiate, all of those types of things. And it's just the mind fuck that goes on with all of this. And it keeps people living in this deadly headspace until you can break free of all of that and really come to learn, like the both of you have, that if you give all of that up, life is a lot better at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So
Much less
It's a lot more
stressful.
tasty.
yes,
For sure. Definitely.
tastes much better. Yes, yes, yes.
And less stressful. Yeah. Definitely
Yeah.
less stressful.
Which accounts for better health outcomes when our stress has been reduced.
Yeah.
But it's
I mean-
funny. So when you talked about like what is healthy now versus what is healthy then, I mean, I still see pictures of myself when I was at my thinnest, which is when I was sickest,
Mhm.
right? And it is still very hard for me to not want to look like that again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when those pictures pop up or when I see them, I get this twinge of jealousy
Mm.
that I can't. I could, let me change it. I could look like that again, but I'm choosing not to because it isn't healthy. Even though on the outside, everybody's like, oh, you're so thin and
Oh,
like
gosh.
you look amazing. I was 127 pounds and I'm 5'8".
Mhm.
And I was running 70 miles a week and I got a stress fracture in my hip and I didn't have my period for a while. And like my body just shut down on me. And so on the outside, I looked like I was healthy, like because I was thin.
Right.
And
That's the only
I was eating
indicator.
all of
Yeah.
the stuff that you're supposed to eat because you're healthy.
Mhm.
And mentally, I was messed up. Physically, I was messed up. And so even though I'm heavier now and I'm definitely healthier because my body is able to support itself. And mentally, I'm not well, I'm still probably messed up, but like let's be real.
There's
But
different levels. Yeah.
it's a different struggle today. And
Yeah.
so I think that's one of the big things is healthy is not necessarily what you look like.
Mm-mm.
No, it's not
Um,
at
Ever.
all.
Ever.
I've worked
And-
with people who are 400 pounds who have a great bill of
Perfectly fine.
I've worked with people who have, kind of like a genetic thinness about them.
Mhm.
They're
Not
okay
good.
too.
Yeah.
Health is thinness and fatness do not determine health.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And that's a battle. It's a hill I'm standing on and a battle that I sometimes stand alone because no one believes me when I say that to them in the general public, right? They don't want to believe that. And I've worked with so many thin people who are incredibly unhealthy as it relates, like their blood pressure, their cholesterol, or perhaps the other side, perhaps it's, anorexia and stuff like that.
And not
too.
only unhealthy, but unhappy. I mean, let's be
Correct.
honest.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
very unhappy. And don't let any of the facade stuff fool you.
Yeah.
I mean, Amber, were you really happy when you were there?
Yes.
You were.
I mean, what was I
were you happy with?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
Because,
happy with what my body looked like. Like
yeah, but
I loved I felt so proud that I was, 38 years old, had 2 kids, and I was a size 4 and
Mhm.
had like no fat on my stomach.
Mhm.
I had never looked better in my life.
Well,
But-
better is a relative.
Well,
Relative.
to me,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
mirror, what I saw in the mirror, but it, my body was destroyed.
Yeah.
And it was not sustainable.
Mhm.
And that's the thing that I've had to come to terms with. One, and getting back to the whole New Year's resolution thing, like I realize that I'm very obsessive. So
Mm,
like I can't I would make a rule for myself, like a New
mm,
Year's resolution. I'm gonna do X, Y, or Z. I'm gonna do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats every
Oh,
single day,
sure.
yeah.
right?
Yep.
And then if I couldn't get it in, then it became an all or nothing thing versus just living, just doing, just supporting.
Yeah.
If it was, the restricting to 1,200 calories, it was like I am not going over, and then I'm gonna earn extra by running, and then so I'm gonna run as fast as I can, and I'm not going to fuel during my run because I want to have the stuff that I want to eat, not the stuff that's fueling
Mm-hmm.
my run. And I mean, I ended up in the hospital because of it. So
Hmm.
it's I liked how I looked, but it messed me up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that's what I mean by like real happiness. Like,
Oh,
you're really like in your head swimming around with all this
oh,
garbage. Like, that's not a place of happy,
I
right?
was consumed with it
Yes.
every minute of every day.
Right. 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 And yet we fool ourselves to think, oh, that's also what happiness looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't
I
that
mean, I
also
would bring
weird?
my own food to family gatherings because
Absolutely.
I did not want to chance that what they
Yeah.
were serving was not going to be good for my calorie count for the day. How stupid.
Been there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
thing I find different too with the healthier mindset is particularly thinking resolutions, right? Things like that.
Yes.
My resolutions, I don't typically do them because I mean, what is it like? None of them make it past the 15th of January anyway.
Right.
But if I'm going to do that, I'll pick, I now look at it, it's not I'm going to lose X pounds, I'm going to do X exercise. I'll do something more like, I'm going to learn this thing. Like
Cool.
I'm going to make a blanket this year. Like it's going to be something that's
Cool.
not physical. Whereas before it was always, how can I change my physical self? How can I
Mm,
change what I see in the mirror? How can I be, better, acceptable, smaller, whatever, insert adjective. Now it's more like maybe it's going to be, which it really should be. I want to, wean off of caffeine.
sure.
It'll be something
Yeah.
like that that isn't necessarily going to change my body or how I look as much as I would so love to do the magic shots and have all that stuff just melt off and go away. That's just, I realize that that's not going to work. That's not going to make me happier. But, if I have a really cool blanket by June, that'll make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like the idea of like, I'm going to do one new thing this year, right? Or something like that. I really love that. I really love that.
So yeah, to Amber's point, where if you have to pick something to be obsessive about, it's not like, I'm going to physically beat myself up. It's going to be something that can positively impact me both
Yes.
mentally and, I'll be warm and cozy come next winter.
I love that.
Do you guys ever feel like when making resolutions, and Kathleen, you kind of have a theme of shame in your response, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in terms
Yep.
of when you make these resolutions about your body or food or things that kind of affect you, likely in a negative fashion, it's just like basically opening the door to shame and just
Hmm.
saying, just slap me in the face. And I feel like some people can identify that and other people don't even realize they're doing it. But do you
Yes.
feel like around the new year, both of you have taken on this kind of like, yep, this is who I am, this is what I'm eating. I've given up these old rules and this old mentality. Do you ever feel like the message to you or to anyone who maybe is in similar shoes to you receives the message of you've given up, you're a disgrace, you aren't
Yes.
tough
Hmm.
enough, you aren't, you aren't disciplined enough is usually the word that I typically hear from people that,
Hmm.
well, you've given up because anyone could be, XYZ size or this, that, and the next thing. And you just, you've given up. Do either of you have that message thread come at you or feel that that is a message in particular around the new year?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, answer
Absolutely.
yes.
Yes,
Next
absolutely. And
question.
it's
No.
even
Yeah.
worse
Yeah.
when you see maybe a relative or someone close to you.
Oh, yeah.
And I have someone in my life who has three greetings for me. You look great. How much have you lost? And oh dear, how much have you gained? And I will be within 3 pounds of the same weight for
Mhm.
any one of those comments. So, and then you hear that, well, it's easy, it's calories in, calories out. Well, spend a little time with the dietitian and you will learn very quickly that's not how it works. And then you'll have,
Especially as you get older.
yeah, oh yeah, no, I have no vote anymore and I need to accept that. But it's those things, but the people that haven't spent time talking to somebody such as yourselves, um, that haven't learned that it's not a 1 = 1 or any of that. It's not a discipline issue. It's not a, well, if you only tried, why? So I can feel bad when it doesn't work anyway. I'd rather have the cheesecake and be happy and be in the same
Yeah.
place, right? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, you do get a lot of that. Well, you should try harder, or especially with all the other people who are still on that path that are, oh, look at this cool diet. I'm doing keto. Oh, I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I've dropped all this weight. And I look at them now and I think that's really cool. But the minute you stop doing that, you're going to gain back twice as
Yeah.
much. And I'm
Yeah.
still going to be where I started. So you do you.
Yeah.
And here's a cool dietitian you can go talk to.
Oh my gosh.
Why do
Yeah,
people feel like they have to comment?
Yeah.
Like particularly
That's the
family.
whole thing. Hmm.
I'm also very fortunate to have people in my life that are like, you're amazing. You could float over a stadium and it'd still be amazing and it'd be fine. So
Good, good.
I'd like to see that, Kathleen.
some days I think it's gonna happen, girl.
Well, I think, it's to me, it makes me feel so sad that so much energy goes into what kind of shape we were just given at birth, that this is just what it's going to end up being. And like all of these years in our evolution, why have we not just accepted, like, hello, genetically, this is just how some of us are, and it doesn't mean anything. Why are we putting all of this value and worth on, like, what? This is absurd to me. It's absurd.
And it's not like sit on the couch all day either. And
Not at
I know
all.
Amber, so, as a runner, and I was
Yeah.
a runner for years, and now I just walk really fast. But
Yeah.
I still do spin class. I still go do a 5K or 10K or whatever it is. So it's not like it impacts any of that. But you wouldn't look at me and say I have any ounce of athleticism in me, and that's okay because I don't really care. I know I can do it.
Mhm.
Do you think that comes with age?
Oh, for sure, because you
Okay.
totally run out of fucks when you get older.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have less and less all the time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, imagine both of yourselves on this podcast and your age 20 to 23 sort
Oh,
of thing. What the difference is in age and how you've learned and you grow and all of those things. And just or perhaps you could even say besides age, maybe it's just a maturing thing. But I do feel like the comments that we receive most, usually from family members, come from older adults who would be our elders ultimately, who make these comments around body. And I don't know if there's just a generational difference or whatever, but
Yeah.
you might not do anything at all to indicate you want this comment, and the comment comes at you, and that's where it's very, very difficult. And as you gain maturity, it becomes easier to deal with it. But when you're young in your 20s, it's
That's
really,
hard.
really hard, right?
Yeah.
And
it's no
keep us in
different
this,
than when you're pregnant and people comment on your sex,
Yes,
right?
there you
Like
go.
I, it is what it is. And that was the only time in my life that I didn't feel bad about my
Hmm.
size. But I was like, well, I mean, I'm pregnant. What do you want? Yeah, it's just that's the only time. So to your comment on the age in it, the difference is that, when I was pregnant in my early 30s, I was like, well, that's kind of how it works. But then with that age piece comes after you've worked through the mental side of it and realized that it's just a bunch of garbage in your head, and you've gotten to the point where, like, okay, this is where I am, and you found your boundary. So really whatever anybody else has to say about it is just like, that's yours. Not mine.
your
Absolutely.
garbage to deal
Yeah,
with.
Yeah,
it is.
exactly.
It is
Because that's what's
completely.
coming out at you is their
Mhm.
own
Projections. Yeah.
projections.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. Absolutely. What is the speaking of, like, New Year's things that you may have done in the past, what do you think is the most craziest or just like that was so stupid thing that like you've done or something that made you feel the worst? You know what I'm saying? Like you did it and you were like, I feel like, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Are you guys prioritizing or
Yeah, right. From now
Can we
I'm
narrow it
sitting here
down?
myself kind of like, is this which
Well, there was
one?
this,
That
and this.
one? Probably, when you start the new year with the brand new diet plan and you're going to be on this and there's just going to be no wavering. So you like clean out all the stuff in the house that could possibly
Mhm.
derail you. And, you only have, if that, it's probably more like 1,200 calories because you want to make sure you get off to a great start. And then you add in all the exercise to Amber's point, so you can earn extra calories. So you
Ugh.
can have like, another celery stick that you hate. So I think that's probably the craziest one. And it's more about setting the goal, right? Like the, the amount that you want to lose is completely unrealistic.
Oh,
Like I'm going to
right.
lose
Mm.
30 pounds by the end of February. Yeah, that's cute.
Mhm.
Good luck with that. Like you're setting yourself up to fail.
Mhm.
Right, right. Yes, completely.
That's
And
probably the craziest one.
isn't it? But it's like, and that's what people do, like you just said,
Yeah.
and with a smile on your face. I'm going to do this thing, and I'm
But
setting
they're
myself
told they
up for
can
the
do that.
worst. Yes.
Yep.
Well, and that's
Right.
the
It's
thing too.
normalized.
It's part of that
Yeah.
dumb diet culture.
Right. Right.
I'd say that I'd probably go right along with what Kathleen had, which is some crazy outlandish number of a target and saying I'm going to be X in I'm going to be at like lose 10 pounds in 30 days,
Mm.
like that's just ridiculous. And like looking back, I could kick myself because I think Kathleen, you brought this up that um if you stop doing whatever got you to lose whatever that weight was, like it comes back on a million times more. You've messed up your metabolism. It's like a never-ending cycle. Um, and I wish I could go back and I mean, I think I started doing it as early as 8, Kathleen, where
Mhm.
I
Oh
was
my
starting to diet when I
gosh.
was 8.
Mm.
And it has been just off and on all the years. And it's like if I would have just let myself be what I was,
Mm.
I could have saved myself a ton of money.
Yeah.
Like all the supplements,
Wow.
The
Yeah.
Weight Watchers,
all the
all the,
Jenny
yep.
Craig or Weight Watchers meetings, all
Mm.
the I mean just all the clothes that I fit into and then threw out and then fit into and threw out.
Oh.
I
Mm.
just oh
Wow.
oh I wish I could just go back and shake.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, but I love hearing you say that because I think people know that, like in a sense, like if they think back, it's like, ugh. But it's like I want people to hear that, because it's true.
I want
Hmm.
to just add in really quick here. I remember because I'm going to answer the question too. I remember back in the day when I was capable of going out past 8 p.m. and I went out for New Year's one year, and the mental torment of
Mm.
if I'm drinking after midnight because it's the new year. So
Mhm.
this January 1st starts at midnight. If I'm still out at midnight, what about how do I is January 1 just does that day not count? What about the
Mm.
alcohol that I've consumed after midnight? What if we're all going to go to breakfast, but
Mm.
and then my aunt has typically a New Year's Day party and she makes all this crazy food and you're like, so then does the New Year's and the mental
Mm.
circling that
Hmm.
happens when you're stuck in there, it's almost worse than the shame around not reaching the goal, right? Like because you're just, at least for me, that was in my 20s, that was really, really tough to have to like sit there and it's almost midnight and well, can I drink anymore or not drink anymore? And again, here we are discussing, is alcohol healthy? Let's go, like, or should we drink more is the question. But the answer is always no. So it's really crazy then to now be in these shoes and have so many other people who approach with that same mental turbulence. And it's really it's really interesting as you work with people, and I'm sure, Nicole, you could say this for both Amber and Kathleen, to see New Year's just kind of transform into a nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
just is nothing. It's just
Right.
maybe you go out, maybe you don't, maybe you celebrate, maybe you don't, whatever. It's a Tuesday or a whatever day, and then you go to work or you don't, and life goes on.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yep.
And it's, instead of it being this like big extravagant thing. And when you're not stuck in that, it really, really feels good, to it's just another day. Right. Same with
It also
Christmas.
makes the
same with
holidays
Thanksgiving.
more relaxing too, because you're not thinking, oh my God, I have to get all this in before the
Yes.
cutoff date.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. So
Yes.
like like you said, the midnight cutoff date, better like eat all this, whatever that I wouldn't. Now it's just, I mean,
It
it's
is
whatever.
it's just a meal or a
Right.
party, and you eat what you eat because you're hungry and you don't think about it.
Right.
Exactly.
I also find I crave it less. Like I don't eat.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's like a aging thing or what it is, but I don't, now that it's not forbidden, which I'm sure is part of it,
Correct.
Mhm.
I'm not like, oh my God, I got to get that in. Now it's just like,
Yeah,
it's
you've
there.
taken it off the pedestal,
Yep.
shrine, and it just, whatever food it is, cake or pie or turkey or whatever is just the meal that's going to satiate you and fuel you for the day or that
Yep.
time period. And it
Which
just,
helps with the New Year's too, right? Because you're not cutting it off. Like to Amber's point, she has ice cream every day.
Mhm.
I will have ice cream from time to time, and
yeah,
you know what? Hot fudge sundaes are amazing.
yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah, and they don't have to change your health outcomes either.
No.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't do anything bad to you by having that particular food item.
No.
It's worse, and I'm sure both of you have had this experience before, where consuming the whole half gallon of ice cream is going to have
Mhm.
worse health outcomes for you than just having a little bit every single day for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
And that's what people, I think, really struggle to understand, that piece of it.
Mhm.
I could
Mhm.
literally have 2 bites now and be fine.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Whereas it used to be, oh my God, I can only
Huge.
have 2 bites.
Yeah.
Now
Mm.
it's, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, you got your fill.
It's just such a complete flip.
That's
Yeah.
so cool though. Mhm.
That's gotta
Mhm.
feel so good.
It is a lot less mental gymnastics for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
So thinking about this year as the new year, have you two, again, if I don't do New Year's resolutions at all, I don't even think about anything for the new year because just like, oh, okay, here we are. We just add another number to the, like, I don't know. I've never done that. But if you guys do, right? If you guys think of the new year as like, oh, what are some, you know, things I want to make sure I do this year that we didn't do last year or whatever like that. Are you guys thinking about anything like that for yourself this year and what that might look like?
I've sort of stopped thinking about any
Good.
kind of doing anything different
Yeah,
just because it's a new year.
good.
So
I love it.
um I'm just gonna I am just going to continue to work on myself and um not backtrack. Honestly, that's
Yeah,
my biggest thing is I
right.
just don't want to slide backwards. And I know that if I know me, and if I make any kind of anything, I'm going to be obsessive. I'm
Yeah.
going to be
Yes.
slide back into bad habits,
Yep.
and I don't want that.
Hmm.
Um yeah, so I say it's January 1st, and I don't care that the year is different. I don't care that the day is different, that the calendar turns. It's just another day.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep. Same. I was never big on resolutions before.
Mm-mm.
And other than the proverbial, this is my year, I'm gonna finally, whatever. But yeah, I don't really know. I mean, maybe I'll be like, yeah, I should be more on top of vacuuming or something, but it won't
Cool.
be. Like,
Cool.
it's
Those
not gonna be that'll go away well before the 15th.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
But I'm not specifically laying out a hardcore plan that
Mhm.
I'll definitely throw out the window or fail, and that I tend to be a little obsessive sometimes too with those things.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's just I'm happier not to. And
Yeah.
I also tend to think for myself when I have the like New Year's, I don't care about. I usually when I do it, it's like my birthday because that's my
Cool.
new year.
Yeah.
So for that, I'll do something like, hey, I want to try a new recipe, or I want to try like,
Nice.
let's try Asian cooking, like whatever. Let's throw in some more of whatever. And it's not always food related either, but just because we're on that topic, but it's not a hard and fast, I must do. It's a, hey, this would be a cool thing to try this year.
Nice. Yeah. And I guess that when I asked the question, I was thinking if you guys were doing anything like that, it would be something like that. I was thinking like, yes, instead of 3 vacations this year, we're going to work on taking 5. And it's like, what a great thing to be obsessive about, right? Where did it go? How did we do it? That kind of thing. But
Yeah.
something that brings you more joy, right? And
Exactly.
life experience that fills you
Mhm.
up, that you make memories with people or whatever that is, that makes you happy. But anyway.
Mhm. I think so many people find joy in weight loss, and so many people can't actually achieve it, but they know that there's joy on the other side, so they
That's
continue to do it.
yeah, but that's the
try
pipe.
to do
That's
it.
the pipe dream.
Correct.
But is
I
it
mean,
joy from the weight loss, or is it joy from the approval from the people who
that's right.
it's
That
not?
is
That's
it
what I'm
right
saying.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I'm not happier. I'm miserable because I'm living on carrots. I mean,
right.
Right. Yeah, that's a very good point. And why are we seeking other people's approval or whomever
Mhm.
that may be?
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Or to fit some sort of a mold,
Right.
I'm thinking from a social media standpoint, you think about like influencers, and you think about teenagers and maybe kids or adults in their 20s watching influencers look a certain way
Yeah.
and see different things, and they're cooking in their sports bra and stuff like that. Well, I want to look like that. And stuff like that is so impactful,
mm,
that that I think there are a lot of people who really think that joy is found, and you're right, through that acceptance piece.
Right. Or that it's found through something else, through
Right.
someone else, through something outside of yourself. It never is.
Right.
It never is.
Right.
So one of the things that we like to ask while we're wrapping up is what your favorite food is. Amber, I think I already know what that is.
Mine's
but-
ice cream.
Ice
Yes.
cream.
In
What kind
any
of ice cream?
flavor.
Any flavor.
Oh,
Okay.
fun. You're an
wow,
any flavor
that's
girl. That's
Even
great.
strawberry?
Okay. Well, anything like if I
Even
have
strawberry.
to, I would go with anything that has chocolate and peanut butter.
There it
Okay.
is.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my girl. Absolutely.
Like the
I love that then.
Neapolitan, do you not eat the strawberry, or like?
Oh no, I like
or
the
do you-
strawberry.
Okay.
But I mean, if I had my druthers, I would do like the chocolate, peanut butter, chocolate revel custard from Cops. I mean, like
Oh
that
yeah.
would be amazing.
Yes.
that's hardcore.
Yeah, that's
So
good.
here's the other thing. Is it ice cream, custard, frozen yogurt? Like, do you have like,
Oh yeah, what order?
do you know what I'm saying? Like texture, you know what I mean?
Gelato.
Oh, gelato.
So in my fridge or freezer, I should say, in my freezer, it's generally either frozen yogurt or regular like ice cream.
hmm
I don't, custard is one of those we'll go out and have it kind of
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
but at home it is either the frozen yogurt.
Yeah.
Like I really like Kemp's has a really good
Mhm.
frozen yogurt. That's the chocolate peanut butter,
Yeah,
Oh.
that's good.
and I love it. I don't know, that's mine.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Good stuff.
Yeah, I should have known this was coming too. I haven't listened to the pod enough times. I didn't even think ahead on that. I don't know. God, I mean, pretty much anything chocolate will work. I bake a lot, but I've learned to give it to my neighbors. So some friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my neighbors are older, so they're always like, "Oh my God, this
Oh.
is so amazing." So that's kind of cool. But gosh, I don't know. My favorite food, that's
Are you a
tough one.
savory or a
Yeah,
sweet?
because I thought, aren't you
I
like
go
French
both
fry
directions.
girl? Like,
No, no, I don't even
interesting.
love French fries anymore. That's one of those ones that I'm
I
like, meh.
do.
They have to be really good French fries, like diner fries,
Mm.
to be really good. But yeah, no, probably I kind of go both though. I'm with Amber, like chocolate or peanut butter on just about anything, and I could pretty much be okay with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. That's good stuff.
So like, peanut butter in my oatmeal is the
Ooh.
bomb.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
So
that's
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably one of my favorite breakfasts. But yeah, I don't know that I have a favorite food right now.
Cool. Yeah.
I like it.
I'll be thinking about that all day.
I know. Well, I'm thinking
I'll
about it right now. Like,
I'll have to work on that.
Yeah. I see you soon, so get back to me.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll make a list.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you all for being here today. This was great. I love all the perspective. Thanks for being so open, by the way. I really want to validate that it's not always easy, like throwing your trash out there a little bit. You know what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to make it like it's a bad thing, but you know what I mean. And I appreciate you guys being so open and honest about things. And I love seeing how both of you are on such a different side of it, yet with the acknowledgement that it's not like being on the other side is, always easy, because that just is life, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're happier in some respect that you're at least on this other side of it, kind of looking around. I'm
Right.
looking at you, Amber, and I know you're questioning it, but we're still working on it.
The daily process,
It is
Every day.
process.
sometimes every minute.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth, depending on the day. So, but thanks again, guys,
Yeah,
for
thank
being
you.
here.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
yes. All
Thank
right.
you, ladies.
And have a great new year.
Yes.
You too.
Thanks, you too.
See you
Thank you.
soon.
Bye.